In this video, we're going to show how to get multiple values with one color. We're going to do a smooth gradient from dark to light. We're also going to do a hard edge with the watercolor. So first, we need to make sure our brush has a nice point by getting it wet. Remember, you need your clean water, and then you have your dirty water for really washing the colors out. Make sure there's not too much water on your brush. So you can see I'm using the paper towel to soak up some of that water. And then first, we want to start by working with our watercolor, getting some pigment mix. So I'm going to use red. So I'm going to start with a little bit of water. I don't want a fully loaded brush. I just want a little bit. And I'm going to work the water into the pigment. And the more you rub, the more concentrated that pigment's going to be. And if you need a little bit more water, you can do that. A little too much. There we go. Work that pigment. And then what I'm going to do to get as much of that color off as possible, I'm just kind of gently pressing and scraping all that saturated water in there. Now I'm going to clean my brush in my dirty water bucket. The reason I want to do that is I want to make sure that I have control where the color is on my brush. Okay? Now there's two ways to do this. First way, again, I'm going to have a little bit of that clean water on the brush. I'm just going to load the very tip of my brush with color. So you can see just touch the tip of the brush in the color, and I can make a nice clean line that way. Okay, I'm going to load a little more color out, and now I am going to pull that color out. Now if you ever get too much color on the paper, what you could do is take your paper towel and blot it. What I'm going to do is I'm completely cleaning my brush now, and I'm going to take just clean water, and I am just going to pull this concentrated paint down. Now you can see the paper already dried, so I have this line, and sometimes you can't always work the color in the line. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put a little tiny bit of red on the tip of my brush, start up here where I want it to be darker, and I'm just going to rework that back. And you can see how adding that little bit more color helps me really blend the color so I have a nice gradient here. There's all sorts of different effects you could do with the gradient. You can make short ones, you can make longer ones. And I could keep going back to this concentrated pigment, and I could keep making this line really nice and saturated with the color, and get that darker out a little further. And you just got to work a little bit at a time. And notice I am using the tip of my brush when I am painting. Now when you fade it out more here and you have a clean brush, you could use the back end of your brush, the heel of the brush a little bit, but the metal is never touching the paper. And you have to be careful, because even though this is watercolor paper and it's a heavier paper, the more water I put on here, the more I start to get little pillies. You can see I get a little bit of pilling there. So just be careful how wet and how much you're working it. But that is how you do a simple value change, a gradient, dark to light. You can see I have a nice clean line here, and it fades out.